Hey church family, I just wanted to take a few minutes to really bring to your attention some verses from Hebrews 13 that I've been reading and reflecting upon, as I think that they're really helpful for us at this time with all of the uncertainties that have been thrown up by COVID-19 and the potential for feeling very disorientated. The writer to the Hebrews in Hebrews 13 almost kind of lays out a bit of a set of guidance, and that really comes under the heading of keep on. Keep on doing these things. And so I just want to read the verses to you and make a couple of comments about them. Hebrews chapter 13 verse 1. Keep on loving one another as brothers and sisters. Do not forget to show hospitality to strangers, for by so doing, some people have shown hospitality to angels without knowing it. Continue to remember those in prison as if you were together with them in prison, and those who are mistreated as if you yourselves were suffering. Marriage should be honoured by all, and the marriage bed kept pure, for God will judge the adulterer and all the sexually immoral. Keep your lives free from the love of money and be content with what you have, because God has said, never will I leave you, never will I forsake you. So we say with confidence, the Lord is my helper, I will not be afraid. What can mere mortals do to me? Verse 7. Remember your leaders who spoke the word of God to you. Consider the outcome of their way of life and imitate their faith. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday and today and forever. Did you notice how there's this kind of recurring theme of keep on, remember, continue? It's like the writer to the Hebrews is saying, in a distracting and disorientating world, I just want to bring you back to the basics. And here in Hebrews 13, the basics are this. Firstly, keep on loving one another. Friends, church family, this is something that we actively need to pursue. This is not something that we need to leave to other people in the church. This is a responsibility for each of us. And so I want to encourage you over this autumn term to keep on loving one another. Keep on making phone calls. Keep on visiting people in their gardens. Keep on having conversations through people's windows. Keep on going round for picnics and barbecues and sitting around people's tables. Keep on practically loving one another. Secondly, he writes about don't forget hospitality. Don't forget opening your homes to strangers. And again, in this current season, it's very easy for us to become small-minded and for our lives to become about us and just maintaining the status quo, where here the writer to the Hebrews is saying, friends, don't forget to open your homes to strangers. One of the ways that you and I can show grace to those around is by opening our homes up to those who we may only just have met once or twice before. And as we invite them into our homes, it's like we're inviting them into our lives, and they're getting to see Jesus's work in our lives up close and personal. So I want to encourage you, take every opportunity in this season to be hospitable to strangers, people that you barely know. Open your lives up to them so that they might see the gospel at work in your life. Thirdly, remember those under pressure. Here, the specific pressure is people that are imprisoned, but I want to suggest to you that this also applies to people whose lives are really coming under pressure, maybe because of their faith, maybe because of some specific circumstances in their lives. And what this is basically saying is, don't let them suffer on their own. Be there for them. That can be anything as small as picking up the phone and checking in and seeing how they're doing. It can be sacrificially giving of your time or maybe even your finances to support them through a particularly challenging time. Friends, let's make it our goal that nobody who calls Kingsgate their home will ever feel that in a moment or a season of pressure, they had to walk it on their own. Fourthly, marriages matter. In seasons of pressure, in seasons of uncertainty, in seasons of turmoil, marriages can come under huge pressure. And the writer to the Hebrews here is reminding the church, friends, keep your marriages sacred. They belong to God. They're holy. They're sacred. Don't allow adulterous thoughts or actions to creep into your marriages, but keep them sacred. So if you're married here, I want to encourage you, invest in your marriage at this time. Make time for your marriage. Don't allow your marriage to drift, but to really pursue a glorious, healthy marriage as God intended it. Fifthly, resist the love of money. The love of money is really a functional or alternative God. You see, the love of money is not really the love of coins or paper notes, but it's the love of what it promises to us. And money promises security, money promises privilege, money promises pleasure, and all of these things it promises are very superficial. And I guess one of the things that we're seeing in this current COVID crisis is how unstable finances are to provide security to our lives. We've been called to love our God above all things, including finances. And then finally, the writer says to remember your leaders who spoke the word of God to you. Consider the outcome of their way of life and imitate their faith. This is a really huge thing in our culture because we have this very strange relationship to leaders. On the one hand, within our world, there's this kind of putting people on pedestals and ever increasingly high pedestals. And sometimes within the church, there's almost a resistance to leadership of any kind. And yet here in Hebrews, the writer is saying it's really important that you remember leaders. Why is it important to remember leaders? Because leaders are often on the front line. Leaders are often facing additional pressures, and leaders, like the rest of the body, are frail human beings that need the grace of God daily. And so leaders need your prayers. As one of the elders here at Kingsgate, I need your prayers. So would you remember me? Would you remember the other leaders here at Kingsgate? However, it's also the writer then also says, consider the outcome of their way of life and imitate their faith. That part of leadership is to model a way of life and to model a way of faith that we've been called to live. And so I want to encourage you to be looking at the lives of maybe your discipleship group leaders, or soon we're going to be appointing deacons, and to be looking at their lives and seeing how they live and seeing how they trust God, which is faith, seeing how they lean into God in those seasons. So, friends, in this weird time we're in, with all of the uncertainties, here are 6 things that I want to encourage you to keep on doing, or to keep remembering, or to continue in over this coming season. God bless you all.